and it's other people who realize that. So it's just trying to be positive, even more positive in this situation. So, and understanding that I'm not the only one who needs motivation. It's other people who don't even realize that they need motivation. So
it is a tragedy. I spoke earlier in the week after I do a morning glory live. I mean, a first watch live, and it's just morning prayer. And that was one of the things that I shared the day after the verdict, is that how I cried. And it wasn't, I didn't expect it, because there was a level of expectation that it wasn't going to go the way that I wanted it to go. But the same old. But at the end of the day, I still held that little bit of hope that they, meaning the powers that be, were going to see that this was not a normal situation and it was not regular police work. So the decision was made, but some things happened that we would be encouraged to do what we need to do, not to stop it,
Right.
And if the verdict may have came a different direction, maybe many of us would have not voted. Maybe many of us would have stopped protesting. Maybe many of us would not have sought out the next level in county government, as well as state government, and even escalating to country government. And these are the things that we have to do so that we get a voice in the places, for lack of a better way of stating it, that count. Because we got to be in places where decisions are made. They got to see brown faces. They got to see black faces. In a positive. That's right. I agree. So the struggle continues. It goes on. Amen. Shout out to Breonna Taylor and her family, as well as George Floyd and all the other families that have lost someone unnecessarily to excessive violence. And then a shout out to the officers that do what they do because they love doing what they do. They know all the rules. They follow those rules. They show up when you need them, because the truth is we need them in certain things.
And the sad thing is that in their line of work, it makes it that much harder for them, because when you're doing something that you love and you know that you're trying to do your best at it, and then you see someone who's in the same line of work who's not doing it the right way, and it doesn't sit well with anyone.
Exactly.
So
and I feel like
hard to deal with too.
Absolutely, that's overwhelming emotional turmoil and stress as well, when you know that your partner or two partners over, two brothers or sisters over, they just wilding out, and you know about it and you hear about it, and you're trying to be there for them, but at the same time you don't like what they do in the streets. So a shout out to those officers, male and female alike, that are out there doing it the way that they need to be doing it, that they are Christian men and women of God out there in those streets, and they stand behind the first shield of God first, and then that blue shield. So we thank God for that. So last week, Sister Artrice was here, and one of the things that you came in actually. Now here's our 5-minute funny. I got to go there.
I know where you're gonna go.
It's our 5-minute funny. Can you see if Artrice Hansberry is on there?
Oh my God.
Can you see in those notes?
I cannot.
Okay, all right.
I have glasses.
Okay, I got you. That's our 5-minute funny. So y'all, here's the thing, that with this oldest daughter of mine, whom I love. But when I very first started this, I told all my kids, hey, I'm getting ready to go back. I'm going to be doing the broadcast. Me and Sister Hansberry going to be doing it at 7:00. I'm so geeked. I'm so excited. First night we started, ring, 7:00. The whole live is paused. And I can see clearly it's this beautiful person. What you going to say?
I am forgetful. And it didn't take me to realize that, dang, she's in her meeting or her session. When I came upstairs, I came in here and peeped in, was like, where's Kaya? And I was like, well, dang, I'm sorry. Like twice. I just had to get used to it.
Man, I think by the third night, because the first night, y'all, it was just like, it's new, so I ain't gonna worry about it. Second night, you know how we do. Okay. And by the third week, we 3 weeks in, and then when we got done, me and Sister Artrice did y'all ain't gonna be able to see it, but we both fell back in the chair.
I know she knows.
I know she knows. We supposed to be. So that's our 5-minute funny. I'm grateful to God. And then one of the things that this was Sister Artrice's idea, so that you know it, but I was on board. Okay. She said the next time she call, you bring her in and make her talk.
Ooh, so gonna have a talk. No, but I'm really, really happy and excited to be here though.
Amen.
It's different. So I really like it.
Yeah, it's exciting for you to be here. I pray that you come back because you bring a freshness and a youthfulness that's also necessary, because the goal of the kingdom table is so that everybody knows that they have a seat at the table. Right. It's not just mama, grandma and them and papa and them that they've been Christian forever. They going to heaven. It's not about that. They have a seat at the table. But if you're young and you're fresh and you're new in your walk with God, or for that matter, you're young and you are contemplating on beginning a walk with God, this is a great place to come to visit with us. So again, your voice is welcome here on today. So here's the thought that came out of her mouth, y'all. When everything went down the way that it, and she was here and Sister Artrice was here and we had our little conversation, I said, well, you want to be on the broadcast with me next week? And this was her thought. This was her thought that came out of her mouth. Mama, I mean, I'll help you, but I know I'm not where I need to be. And I'm not where I need to be. And I said, perfect. That's a perfect place to be. Amen. Yeah. And that's our discussion on tonight. I am not where I should be. Mm-hmm. And it's all about personal expectations, because oftentimes we have our own personal expectations that really sometimes go beyond what we've been trained to do. We see in our head, it's just like the 5-year-old that sees that those 5 steps that they can jump over. And in their head, they think, hey, I'm going to hit my personal best today. I'm going to jump those 5 steps. I'm going to do it. And what happens? You fall. It can be a tragedy.
But it's a learning experience. And when I said that, I would never say, and I think what I love the most about myself is that I am an infinite learner. Like, I love learning consistently, whether it may be from a teacher, whether it might be from a student, it could be someone, who I don't even know, just by observing. Like, I love to learn from people. So my thing is, like, my expectation for myself is a little bit higher. So somebody might see it and, be like, well, you're fine, you're okay. But my expectation is set higher for me. So
that's right.
It's not that I'm doing bad. It's just I see myself and I push myself to be where I need to be. So right now, I'm exactly where I need to be at, but it's not where I would like to be.
All right.
But, and I do love, I always say, like, God knows exactly where you are.
Mm-hmm.
And, I just accept that, because it's like, now it's like I'm just now getting to a place where I'm just feeling like, look, I may not be where I want to be at, but he knows where I'm at. So he's going to have to work with me right where I'm at, because this is,
And that is his goal. Yeah. That is the heart of God. Mm-hmm. The truth is, he does know exactly where we're at. Mm-hmm. And oftentimes it's us that thinks, like I said, like that 5-year-old jumping over 5 steps, when truth be known, your legs are only long enough to manage one step without hurting yourself, breaking something that you need. Right. But because that 5-year-old has those personal expectations for themselves, because of a lot of times it's because they saw somebody else do it, and they thought that they could do it. So anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, just overextending yourself is kind of
I like that.
I kind of take that as, in real life, sometimes people, I feel like they see other people doing things and they try to mirror what they're doing and try to replicate it, and it's not that you can't do it, it's just right now in this space, like, you just may not be able to do it right now, because you have to learn. So that's why I take learning, as a seat, that I love to sit in at all times, because the more you learn, the more you grow.
Exactly. And then I like I like what you said, and what I hear that I've been really studying a lot lately is the spirit of comparison. Yeah. Because that's a spirit, and it's not of God. You look at other people, and then you compare where your life is based on a standard of who they are and what's going on in their life. You're never going to be successful doing that because you don't know what that person has been through. You don't know what kind of lifestyle that they have lived. You just don't know who they are. But God knows. You said it earlier, and we'll just add a little bit more to it. God knows exactly the plan that he has set for your life and for mine. And we'll get to that text later on, but when you look at your own, you said the word that you used was personal overextending. And I like that analogy because I feel like people can wrap their mind around that. I know for myself personally, I have looked at things that I wanted to do and I have overextended myself simply because I thought I could do all 10 of these things at once. And you can't. I'll give you a great example. Was it, my husband and I have a church called Tabernacle of Praise Christian Fellowship Church. Was it Tabernacle of Praise Christian Fellowship Church.org? You can Google us if you choose to. So then, shameless plug. But we, with the whole pandemic, you have to take temperatures at the door. And then you have to take those temperatures, log them in a book every week, and then sign off that was that person's temperature. And of course, that was my job. It's more of an administrative role until God blesses us with more people to work in roles where myself and my husband can truly teach, preach, and cast vision. That's all we got to do. Right. But it's going to take the Lord to send more people in to do what needs to be done. Right. And so then I also, we have a YouTube channel, and we got a new camera that we can actually upload YouTube videos. Nice. But yeah, it's all nice. It's beautiful, right? Yeah. However, this is your word, overextending. Yeah. So one Sunday, it was my turn to preach. So I'm setting up the GoCast, which is another new piece of technology. I'm setting up the camera. I'm taking the temperatures at the door. Yeah. And I found myself like, wow, this is a lot. Yeah. Then the next Sunday, I left the entire bag for the temperature taking. Okay. And that's, to me, that's serious because that's something that needs to happen. It has to happen every week. It's a has to. Everybody wore their face coverings, and on that tip we was fine. And the fact that we are a smaller church, everybody was well able to sit 6 feet apart. But the point is, I got to do it the way that it's supposed to be done. Yeah. And so then the Spirit of the Lord spoke right then and said, okay, it's time to delegate. Somebody else has to do this because you can't do it all. Right. We can overextend ourselves. We can look at something and think that we can do all 10 of these things. But the truth is, you really should be giving these things to other people because it's not my church. This is God's church. Right. And because it's God's church, that means that other people have a job to do. And I shared this with my church family. Yeah, go ahead.
Even though you overextended yourself, one of the quotes that I came up with that I live by is I had to sit down and really, really deal with myself. And this quote I live by, and I was like, Danielle, I have to, and I don't know, maybe it might have been God who gave it to me, but I was like, it just came to me. It was like, you have to find ways to be gentle with yourself.
Yes.
So even when you're overextending yourself, you can't be so hard on yourself.
That's it. It's it.
Because again, it goes back to the teaching, the learning experience, and when you're when you feel overwhelmed or you feel,
overextended,
you have to learn how to pull it back and,
That's it.
Chunk it off a little bit at a time, in life general. And just not letting yourself feel drained all the time.
Absolutely.
Especially now.
And that's a perfect segue off of that particular thought process of overextending, because the truth is, when you overextend, you're going to find yourself in trouble. You'll find yourself hurting yourself. You will fall. But I love the way that you said it. I say it differently. I say the same thing, but I say it differently. Yeah. And what I say to myself is, okay, talk sweet to yourself.
Yeah. Okay.
Talk sweet to yourself. Yeah. It's the same thing. And when I remember, it was a couple of weeks back, because there would have been a time, daughter, that I would not have talked sweet to myself. The only thing that I would have been able to see in that situation that Sunday is, you failed. You were supposed to do 5 jobs, and and one of those jobs you couldn't even do because you didn't bring what you needed. I would have I would have whooped up on myself.
And you can't do that.
And you can't do that. You got to be sweet to yourself.